Have you ever tried to fix a broken mug, squeezed a tiny tube, and immediately bonded your index finger to your thumb with the strength of 1,000 suns? Suddenly, you are a hostage in your own kitchen, waiting for the skin-peeling regret to set in. We've all been there. It is the curse of superglue. Now, if you're like most people, you probably assume this miracle adhesive was the result of a pristine laboratory where clean-cut scientists in white coats spent years calculating molecular configurations to solve the ancient human problem of broken pottery. But it wasn't, not even close. That sticky gel sitting in your junk drawer wasn't designed to repair your coffee cups. It was born in the fires of World War II, and its original purpose was to help Allied soldiers aim high-powered machine guns to blow fighter planes out of the sky. Which brings us to the core truth of our history. Humanity is clumsy, lazy, and lucky. Almost everything in your house exists because someone made a mistake, got lazy, or had a bizarre habit. We don't innovate through genius. We innovate by accident. And the story of superglue is the stickiest accident of them all. Our story begins in 1942 with a chemist named Dr. Harry Coover. Harry was working for Eastman Kodak, the camera guys, but since WWII was raging, Eastman Kodak was doing military research. Harry's job was to invent a clear plastic that could be molded into optical gun sights for Allied soldiers. The military needed gun sights that were cheap, tough, and perfectly transparent. If the sight was blurry, soldiers would miss the enemy plane, which is generally frowned upon in military circles. So Harry started mixing together different chemical concoctions, looking for the ultimate clear plastic. Eventually, he cooked up a batch of chemicals called cyanoacrylates. He poured it into a mold, hoping to get a nice, crisp lens. But when he tried to take it out, he couldn't. The plastic had fused to the mold. It fused to the tools. It fused to his assistants. It stuck to literally everything it touched. For any normal person, sticks to everything forever sounds like a pretty good definition of glue. But Harry was a serious scientist trying to win a war. He didn't want glue, he wanted a gun sight. Annoyed by this sticky, ruined equipment, Harry declared the chemical a complete and utter failure, threw it in the trash, and forgot about it. Fast forward 9 years to 1951. The war is over, but the Cold War is heating up, and jet fighter planes are the new hotness. Harry Coover is still at Kodak, and now he's trying to find a heat-resistant plastic that can withstand the extreme friction and temperature of jet canopies. Coover puts a young researcher named Fred Joyner on the case. Fred is going through the old chemical archives, and he stumbles upon the exact same sticky cyanoacrylate mixture that Harry had rejected a decade earlier. Fred decides to test its refractive index to see how it bends light. To do this, Fred spreads a tiny drop of the compound between two highly expensive, pristine quartz prisms. He presses them together, takes his reading, and then tries to separate them. He pulls, nothing. He twists, nothing. He realizes he has just permanently welded two pieces of state-of-the-art military glass together. Fred runs to Harry's office, sweating, probably terrified he's about to get fired for ruining Kodak's expensive lab equipment. But this time, Harry doesn't throw it away. The light bulb finally goes off. He realizes they aren't looking at a failed plastic. They are looking at the most powerful adhesive on Earth. Kodak realizes they are sitting on a gold mine. They refine the formula and name it Eastman 910, which is a terrible name that sounds like a highway route. But the public is skeptical. Nobody believes a liquid can bond things instantly without heat or clamps. So Harry decides to go on national television to prove it. In 1958, Harry appears on the hit show I've Got a Secret. In front of a live studio audience, Harry places a single drop of Eastman 910 between two steel cylinders. He waits a few seconds, hooks the cylinders to a crane, and uses it to hoist the show's host, Gary Moore, completely off the ground. The host is dangling in midair, praying for his life, held up by nothing but a drop of chemical residue. The audience goes wild. The secret is out, and Kodak rebrands the stuff as superglue. Soon, every household in America has a tube of it, mostly using it to accidentally glue their fingers together. But the story doesn't end in the junk drawer. During the Vietnam War, the military rediscovered the magic of cyanoacrylates. Combat medics were facing a major crisis. Soldiers were bleeding to death from internal injuries and shrapnel wounds before they could reach a proper field hospital. Stitching up a moving, bleeding human in a muddy jungle while under enemy fire is incredibly difficult, so medics started carrying superglue in spray cans. When a soldier had a gaping chest wound, the medic would literally spray superglue directly onto the bleeding organs. It stopped the bleeding instantly, saving thousands of lives. Even though it saved lives, the FDA was furious because the original formula caused skin irritation and wasn't officially approved for medical use. Eventually, scientists modified the formula to be biocompatible, leading to the liquid bandages and medical skin glues we use in hospitals today. So, to recap, a chemical designed to shoot down Nazis reduced rejected as a failure, rediscovered by ruining expensive quartz prisms, demonstrated by dangling a TV host from the ceiling, and used to glue open lungs together in the jungle, is now sitting in your drawer. And what do we do with this world-saving, military-grade, life-saving technology? We use it to poorly attach the leg back onto a cheap plastic toy, or try to fix a $3 mug, only to end up with a layer of crusty white residue on our skin that stays there for 3 business days. But that is the beauty of our modern world. Your house is not a collection of deliberate designs. It is a museum of happy accidents, clumsy chemists, and ruined Kodak equipment. So, next time you are frantically scrubbing your hands with acetone because you got too enthusiastic repairing a shoe, just remember, at least you didn't glue 2 expensive quartz prisms together, or dangle a TV host, or aim a gun sight. Actually, just put the cap back on before it dries shut forever.